Hi there, I'm Dave Wilson, Distinguished Toastmaster. I've been a member of selfgrowth.com, I'd say about 8 years. What I'd like to do now is just to introduce myself to you face to face, if you will, just so I can take you back into the Wayback Machine and see my personal evolution journey that began almost 11 years ago in May of 2005. One of the things that I discovered was not that I was opposed to personal development. I just absolutely had no idea what it was after 47 years of basically being miserable. I was diagnosed with ADHD at 7 years old, and if you know anything about that, then you know that that means basically your social life is trash. You have what's known as word vomit. You just say things that come straight from your mind, straight to your tongue, and there is no filter, and that tends to put people off. And that creates in many, if not most or all, of ADHDers who have it as bad as I do, a huge amount of self-anger, frustration, disappointment, and sorrow for not being able to, one, fit in, and two, just be capable of being social. So what I want to do is to introduce you to my own personal evolution journey, because what has been amazing for me, starting about 2 years after I really put my mind to it, when I suddenly found a quote online. It basically said, you know, the past has absolutely nothing to do with your future. If you don't like the way your past was before, change it. And I was, to somebody who always expected life to suck, that was a revelation to me. And I spent money, weekends, video conferences, teleseminars, webinars, conferences out of town, all kinds of things, anything I could do to change the way I saw myself. And in a little while, I'll present you with another little video that will talk some about the self-image and how important that is. But first of all, I just want to take you this direction. We all come to personal development for whatever reason. Self-growth, self-help, personal development, how to feel better about myself, how to get along better with my friends, how to get along better at work. It doesn't matter what the reasons are that you came to personal development, but one thing that is underlying probably all of them is the fact that in your mind you have not reached the place in your mind, in your heart, in your soul, most especially, and at work, at home, or in personal relationships, that you're satisfied. So we come to a place like selfgrowth.com and many others. I've seen hundreds in the past 11 years almost. But the one thing that we all seem to be searching for when we come is to find that part of us that allows us to be this person we see ourselves being in the future. That's really what this is all about. Personal development, self-help, in my own experience, has been nothing more than a journey of awareness, of insight, of perspectives, and most importantly, the one tool that I bring to the table for you is the increased perception to see life like the people who are the entrepreneurs, not the people who were born with money, but the people who made themselves this person that we see them as today, because they're doing the things that you and I weren't doing when we first got started. And as I have evolved since 2005, I have become what I like to refer to as gifted with these incredible insights about things that, well, everyday conversation. I can, for some reason, see what drives people to think the way they think. If they're unhappy, if they're miserable and so want to make everybody else around them just as miserable. I know you know the type. But the funky part is that just one day this happened to me amongst my co-workers. I'm an electrician, a fire alarm specialist, and I'm surrounded by people who want to come to work, do as little as possible, complain about the money that they make, and complain about the hours that they have to work. And this is the perfect environment to evolve an enlightened way of thinking, and to then be around all the people that you've been around all your life, all of my adult life for sure, because I learned this trade back in 1980 in the Air Force. To see myself and all of these people that I was hanging out with from a different perspective, because I was beginning to see my own possibilities and the possibilities to have, do, and be who I never imagined I could possibly be whatsoever. None. No chance. I just knew I was going to be miserable for the rest of my life. But now, through Toastmasters International, and if you don't know what that is the worldwide organization in like 180 countries, where people go to learn to speak in public more comfortably. Or now there's a huge leadership component involved in that. The one thing I want to talk about from the very, very beginning here, before I even ask you to click the link and read this amazing stuff that I have written before, is to say that if you're not where you see yourself being, as I say in my book, in your mind's movie screen, as you see yourself being this evolved person in the future, what is it that you're doing there that you're not doing here? And I can pretty much guarantee that it's the way you think about your own possibilities, opportunities, and your belief in being able to make them come true. That, my friend, is the one and the only thing that matters. Plenty of people who are not interested in personal development will poo-poo all over that and try and say, oh, that's all a bunch of crap, that personal development stuff doesn't work, blah, 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 without ever having put the words personal and development together in a sentence before in their lives. But I can tell you from 11 years of amazing personal transformation that everything I'm going to share with you is what will be, I hope, an ongoing conversation as we continue down, hopefully, a dual path of personal evolution as we make our way from whoever it is we are now, or for me, when I was in 2005, to who I have become and continue to become by sharing with you all of the things that have happened to me before I found personal development and the amazing things that have happened since, so that you don't have to live those 11 years to get these insights, but can use what I have discovered in by giving examples of things that have happened in my life specifically. I don't read a book and say, oh, in this chapter it said. I can tell you specifically from definite amazing things that have happened to me. And that comes from a guy who got gut kicked every day in school because, one, I couldn't stand up for myself. Two, I had absolutely no socially redeeming skills. And three, always believing life was going to suck. To becoming a guy people refer to in my district of Toastmasters as someone who is an inspiration, someone people get excited about when they hear my story, and when I just naturally share these insights just in conversation. And I want you to see the impact that would have on a mind that for the first 47 years was convinced that I was always going to have a crappy life, to where people look at me as an inspiration. Unless you are doing exactly what I've done and had the terrible issues I've had with ADHD, then you really have no idea how profound that is, to be looked at this way instead of looked down upon because I was not good enough to be social. So I'm going to bring this one to a close, and the next video I want to talk about is that one most important part of you, and that is your self-image, because that, my friend, is what will make you or will definitely break you. See you next time. This is Old Super Dave, signing off. See you soon.